Cluster B personality traits. Yeah, what the fuck is that? I recently got diagnosed with this, and when they were telling me, I was literally like, you're making this up. I've never had this before. It literally sounds like some kind of like Myers-Briggs, like Crunchy Nut cereal thing. I just didn't really believe them. Maybe I was in shock. From what I gathered, there are 10 personality disorders in a big long list, and they are separated into 3 clusters: cluster A, B, and C. And when you have cluster B personality traits, you fit into that category, or you have parts of those personality disorders. So in that category, there's antisocial personality disorder, there's narcissistic, borderline personality disorder, and histrionic. The more research I've done about cluster B personality traits, the more down this deep dark rabbit hole I seem to go, and it just seems like they're so bad. And I'm like, I know it sounds bad, everything in cluster B, but that's not me. I'm not a bad person, am I? I wanted to make this video because 1, it's been a while, and 2, I haven't really found a hell of a lot of positive stuff online about cluster B personality traits. I went for an ADHD test, and for those of you who might not know who I am, I've gone through waves of depression, severe anxiety all through my life. I was diagnosed with OCD. I've been in and out of therapy for the last 10 years, maybe even longer. My mental health is a struggle, it always has been. But the more I learn about cluster B personalities, the more I'm trying to get my head around the positives, which, yeah, what are those? When I was reading through this, thinking like, oh, I don't see myself in this, I don't see myself in that. Oh, there are elements of me definitely in that. For me personally, I can see myself in narcissistic, in borderline personality, but most of all histrionic. That I feel like that's 80% me. When I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, there it is, that makes so much sense. But I went into a deep hole of trying to understand what it means, and unfortunately I spiraled. You know, I first got the news and I got really upset, and I was like, I don't understand, like, what is this? Then I was like, huh, okay, all right, well, I've accepted it, that's fine, like, I'm okay. I was in shock, it wasn't really real. And then it hit me later, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? I'm a bad person, I'm a bad human being. And I freaked out, and I genuinely believed that I was a bad person, and that I had just been awful to all my friends, all my family, everyone I had ever met. It like brought it back, a huge flashback of all the awful times that I got in trouble with school, I got in trouble at work, professional times where I shouldn't have been behaving the way that I was, or like, you know, being over dramatic. And this is why I feel like histrionic personality disorder really fits in with who I am. I mean, I'm a sex educator, I'm a sex worker, I've worked in the porn industry, in the adult industry for as long as I can remember, for most of my life. So learning this was a massive battle into like ingesting all this negativity and having to try and like regurgitate it and process it and understand it as something that can be good. A lot of the time people don't seek help for personality disorders, especially cluster B, because they don't know it exists, they don't realize they have it. They go and seek help for other reasons, like depression, like anxiety. It was actually really refreshing reading something that was like, oh my god, that's so me. I felt awful, you know, I felt like a horrible bad person and guilty, but it was really eye-opening, and it's been really helpful to my boyfriend. He's like, oh, I get it now, like, I feel validated, I understand. I don't know if it's curable, I haven't got that far yet learning about it, but I know that it can be more manageable, especially with therapy. Especially, I mean, I think sometimes you can do medication, but therapy is supposed to be the best one for this, especially DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, is great for that kind of thing. I'm currently in Gestalt therapy, which is very much like looking at your body and the way that you react to things in the present. And also my boyfriend and I are in couples therapy, we've just started. So I think that's going to be really helpful. And it's about being unafraid to learn and not feeling like a bad person. Like, remind yourself that you're not a bad person, you haven't done bad things, Your personality disorder isn't you. It is something that is separate to you, but is also something that helps, like, you know, push you in a certain direction. And sometimes that personality disorder can get really loud and overbearing and can make you do things that you don't necessarily want to do, or that you don't even think you're doing wrong. I've done a lot of writing, journaling, if you will. I mean, I say a lot, like maybe like I wrote a bit once, you know. What I did do, which was really helpful, was I wrote a list of all the good things that come from cluster B personality traits. And some of those things were stuff like finding it really easy to talk to people, being able to like pick up the phone, being able to appreciate where I am, you know, the career that I had, the job that I have. I know that I dress well. I know that I'm the center of attention. I know that I'm the most interesting, exciting person in the middle of a room, and that gives me so much confidence. And of course, there is always negativity that comes with that, like feeling uncomfortable when you're not the center of attention is something that I'm working on. It's just about understanding it more. Again, everything I read just seems to say the same old shit, and it's the same old like crap that's just written off of a textbook. There doesn't seem to be much personal experiences involved. So if you have any suggestions for good resources learning about histrionic personality disorder, or cluster B personality disorder, then please put them in the comments, because it would be really helpful to know. So yeah, that's it from me, and I will be doing some more videos on this. Like, please tell me if you relate, if you can understand where I'm coming from, if you yourself has been diagnosed with any of this. It would be really helpful to know that there are other people out there, because it just doesn't seem to be that discussed really that openly. And I'm always here to chat, so yeah, whenever you want to, give me a little message. Find me on Instagram at ReadAmberX, and of course follow our podcast Come Curious. You're on the YouTube channel, but follow it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on Instagram as well. And yeah, I'm sending you love. I'm in a really good place right now, so I'm feeling like really up and excited, almost a little bit manic, but we're trying to figure that out, you know. And I'm also getting a second opinion next month through the NHS. I'll be back with more updates. Sending you lots of love. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, week, year. Mwah.